You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo!
My compliments, little lady.
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Oh, welcome back as we launch into the second hour of BaaD Radio. I'm going to run through all of the regular info for those of you who just might have joined us. I am Angela Smarita, your host, and we've got our co-host and videographer, Melissa Jacob.
Hello, hello.
And her business is called Striking Brand. And if you go to baadradio.com, that's BAAD radio.com, you can see all the previous episodes of the show because we put them there. And then you can also see them on YouTube. If you go to strikingbrand.com, then you can see all of Melissa's other work because in addition to doing video work, she is a photographer as well.
True story.
Always. I speak the truth. So we have a new guest for BaaD Radio. Please welcome Dr. Reid with Reid Chiropractic and Wellness Center. So super excited to have her here.
Thank you.
Oh. Yes. So Dr. Reid and I met at the beginning of the pandemic. When I actually launched Business at a Distance. Dr. Reid was one of the first people. I can remember this specifically because I was super impressed. I'm like, oh, there's a doctor in here. So that's how we had initially met is through Business at a Distance. And then we did a one-to-one. I came to visit with her as she was opening up your office in Castleberry.
Correct.
So tell us where were you prior to that?
Before that, I was using space at another office in
Pull that
Orlando.
a little bit closer to you. There you go.
I was using space at another in Orlando
Okay.
area. But I've been practicing for over 20 years, 23, almost 24 years, mostly associating with other doctors.
Right.
And have had my own for several years now.
I know. When we did our one-to-one, I was like, has it really been? It's been like 3 or 4
I know.
years. So I want to come see this. I want to call it a studio, even though it's not a studio. I'm used to this radio thing. To see like all this stuff because when I was there, you had not even had furniture put in yet.
Correct. So you could almost call it like a little studio at that time because it was very minimal and everything. And it's funny because one of my patients came in the other day and I hadn't seen her in about a year. And she's like, oh my God, you changed something else. You moved something else. I was like, did I?
Yeah, you're like,
maybe.
Oh, don't even. If you come to my house, I move it. I change stuff every single day. So
I think if some items like the table, the decompression table weren't as heavy, I probably would. Between me and my assistant Carol, probably would, maneuver some things. But usually mostly it's decorating and adding this, adding that,
Right.
Just kind of updating things.
So let's talk about like all the lists because you have chiropractic in the name of your business, but you also have wellness. So let's talk a little bit about the different types of things that you do within your practice.
Different aspects. So I consider myself basically a wellness holistic chiropractor. And I also incorporate functional medicine. So I am a certified functional medicine practitioner.
Can you give us a quick definition of functional?
I know, because people hear functional medicine, they're like, what? I sum it up as basically getting to the root of disease.
Okay.
And looking at the root cause of things and not just the symptoms.
Okay.
So we're used to hearing about the symptoms. You go to, let's say, your primary care doctor and naming off a bunch of symptoms. They do some tests, and then they put you on medication. And so functional medicine looks at, okay, well, where are all these symptoms coming from? What is the main source of these things? Which at a lot of things is inflammation for
Right.
a lot of people.
So swelling.
Well, even deeper than that. So I take it from inflammation is carried in your blood. Where does your blood go? Everywhere.
Right.
So there has that potential for inflammation to be everywhere and thus wreak havoc on every system in your body.
Okay. And what causes inflammation? I guess it's that might be a really dumb question. Sorry.
No,
So
no.
very many things.
Not at all. Not at all. It can be several things. It can be, people are used to, okay, I had trauma, something hit me. And so, my arm is swollen, it's bruised, it's inflamed. But we don't think of the other things that can cause inflammation, like diet, lifestyle, stress, which is a big thing.
Oh, I
That was a big
bet.
thing during, the pandemic.
Right.
And everything. But there's a lot of different things that can cause it or even just make it continue to be there chronically and kind of continue to drive that pathway.
That's really interesting. So, like I always say, there's Western medicine. That's pretty much my terminology for, my primary care is my Western
Right.
medicine. And so if I'm not feeling good, they go there and they do a lot of tests and they're like, okay, you're good. There's nothing on paper wrong with you.
Right.
So you might be able to say, well, let's look at
Yeah.
your blood work.
Looking at the blood work, taking a deeper dive into the blood work. My thing is that I tell people, if you're not feeling good, and we know ourselves, hopefully you know yourself, if you're feeling not good or if you're feeling good. And so if you're getting blood work done and everyone's telling you that, oh, it's okay, it's
Well, that's
normal.
what your primary care does. He's
Yeah.
like, you're within range. I'm like, but I'm dragging butt.
Yeah,
you know?
you feel like crap and everything. It's definitely takes note to take a deeper dive into that. Sometimes it's certain blood tests that aren't being done that should be just like on everyone's list of just basic wellness things to have done. Sometimes those aren't being done. Other times it's just looking at the blood work in a different way, or what we call through more of a functional lens or an optimal lens of where things should be for the body to work at its best.
Well, my problem is with the range because like Melissa I'm like, what, 15 years older than you? I'm 51, so close,
I'm
right?
39.
Okay, so you know what I mean? I've got over 10 years on her.
Right.
My range, but I mean, they'll put her and I kind of in the same category,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like way different from her because I've gone through a lot of these different changes that she hasn't. But like I said, they're going to look at, I don't think that we're the same. Like, I don't think our ranges should be looked at the same.
Well, the ranges are unfortunately looked at the same for everybody, no
Right.
matter where you're at in the city or the country. The problem is that the ranges are just so broad.
Right.
So looking at them more functionally are usually going to be a little bit more narrow than they should be, as well as doing complete labs. I see sometimes I'll ask someone, hey, let me see your lab work. Your doctor's saying everything's normal or telling you that everything's normal, but you're here for pain. You're here for you're diabetic. You're this. You're that. And so when I look at them, it's like, no, that's not normal.
Well, what do you see a lot of? I mean, you mentioned stress. Is that so? You see a lot of like ulcers and things like with the stomach. 'Cause my mom used to always tell me this, and I would literally think that she was like, if you worry too much, you're going to get a hole in your stomach. And I literally, as a kid, I think of like somebody with like a literal hole in their stomach.
Yeah,
and I was mortified.
And in some ways, it is kind of like that. It's not a straight line, so to speak, in terms of, okay, if you get stressed, you get an ulcer. But yes, it can lead that way because stress will come in different forms. We think of stress as, I had a hard day, or, work is tough, my boss is tough on me, or something like that. But stress comes in different forms. It could be chemical stresses. So the things that we put on our body, the chemicals and toxins that we put in our body.
Oh man, I'm so bad. I'm like a
I
lotion
know.
person. I'm like Bath and Body lotion candle person, and some of my holistic friends, they get on me so bad about it.
Yeah.
It is very hard to take a break or kind of back up from those things because we've grown up with those things. That's been part of our lives. And I used to be there right with you. Bath and Body Works clearance sale twice a year.
Candles, baby.
Getting those things.
Are they really that bad for you?
They are. When you
She's like, yes.
I'm sorry.
I'm not going to sugarcoat
Is it because
Say that.
is it because of the flame, or is it just because
the
like
toxins, the chemicals.
so
in it.
even if I get the candle warmer and don't light it and it just warms the wax?
It's better, but it could still bad because those fumes are going. Think about it this way: when you look at things that have a label on it, and when you start reading the things that are in it, and you can't pronounce some things, you have to Google something. What the heck is that?
Well, what if it's vanilla? Vanilla's not bad.
You know what? And there might be some vanilla in there.
Right.
Just very drop of it. Enough to give you that sense that, ooh, it's vanilla. But a lot of it is synthetic also too. Same thing with, like your air fresheners and things like that.
I want to know what you do instead of candles then.
I know.
You know what I use? I use essential oils.
Well, actually, hold on. I want you to hold that thought. Because you know what? We're going to go to break, and then when we get back, we're going to talk about some alternative to candles. So stay tuned for more BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Frogger's Grill and Bar. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones? Then you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar. With daily specials, an amazing kids menu, and sports, and more sports, there is something for everyone. And don't miss out on Frogger's amazing menu where everything is fresh, never frozen. With 4 great locations, there is bound to be one near you. Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. Frogger's, hoppin' with food and fun. All right, so we are here with Dr. Reid with Reid Chiropractic and Wellness Center. And before break, we started talking about alternatives to the things that we put in our house that smell really good but might not be really good for us. Mm-hmm. And I am very guilty of this because I love the candles, the Bath and Body. And like I've just recently, converted from like the lighting of the candle to like a candle warmer,
to melt
so that I don't have like all these flames. Well, also like my husband was doing something and he made a clean spot on the on the wall, and it was because I always burn a candle there, and you see the soot,
smoky,
and I'm just like, I'm like, now you've done it, you made a clean spot, you got to clean the whole thing, because
I'm sure he regretted that.
But I do think about it.
And then you got me those battery operated little LED candle things too, which I have in my bathroom. That's cute, and those are good, right?
What do they do? Like release a scent?
No, they're just like flicker. They're just like the
just
light.
kind of
That's
flickering.
it. So
Okay,
so we could do that with like some essential oils.
Yeah,
it sounds
yeah.
There
like.
you go. If you
So
want to
get
still
the ambience.
Yeah.
Well, what about candles that don't have smell, just for the ambience?
Again, you have to look at what is it made.
It's just
with.
a white
That's-
candle with nothing, just a candle, just wax.
Well, that's a lot of the times what we think. Unless you're making it yourself, you have you have to really think about it. Would you make it?
I have one.
yourself?
Yes, I have a kit.
Which you could, so you have to be careful of where things are coming from, because there are a lot of hidden things out there that we're not aware of until you really start to do the research that's out there. I always tell patients all the time, don't take my word for things, advocate for yourself, look up things for yourself.
Sure.
That way you can, read it for yourself and like, oh, okay, Dr. Reid wasn't lying.
You're like, dang it, she's right.
Type of thing,
What essential oil? Okay, so I'm trying to, I'm not that versed on essential oils. Which ones do you use? And they smell good? Do you put them in a vape
they do
kind of thing?
They do. They can make essential oils from everything. I use a company, and I've used them for years. And there's several companies out there. I've used Young Living for years, and there's anywhere from lemon to lavender to
I hear they put lavender a lot of stuff. I'm not a huge lavender fan. I don't know why.
When you smell real lavender, it's completely different than synthetic.
Well, it's the lavender they put in like the spray for your kitchen counter. I can't stand it.
That's synthetic. Even though, when you look at the long ingredient panel that's on there, I think sometimes you may see just like, natural lavender, and then it'll say artificial things that are in there. When I first met my husband, he loved lavender bath bombs. And I was like, oh, okay. So I found some natural ones for him and let him smell it. And he's like,
what's that? Right.
I was like, that's real lavender. I was like, seriously, you want the synthetic version. That's what you're used to. And that's what a lot of people are used to. So I have a diffuser, and you add water to it, and you add like a few drops of the whatever essential oil that you want to use, or combination, make your own combinations. And that's what can give you that scent.
Well, what kind of damage am I doing to myself with these candles, and is it an acceptable risk so that I don't have to give them up?
Do you really want to know?
I don't know. I feel all right.
Well, and it's not. Well, and that's the thing. I
feel good.
I tell people this all the time. We are driven by symptoms, meaning that if you have a symptom, then it's like, okay, something's wrong. Think about if you get sick, you get the flu, you start to feel things, but that virus was there prior to that, and it was just kind of festering, so to speak, in your body until it finally came out and had symptoms.
Right.
And so that's what we're driven by. However, it doesn't mean that the lack of symptoms, that everything is okay. And so things can be building up for weeks, for months, for years before they start to give a symptom or a noticeable problem. With us women, it's wreaking havoc on a lot of things in our bodies, brain fog, hormones. When you hear about the plastics that are being used, I think there was a recent article I read finding plastic in something, and it was just like, why is there plastic in that?
Was that food?
I want to say it was food.
I think I know what you're talking about. 'Cause I was like, what?
It was like but it's like one of those quick articles you see, and then all of a sudden you don't see it anymore. It goes away.
Well,
hiding.
I'm going to look into the essential oil thing because the last thing I want to do is poison myself and my family. But man, like walking into my house when I have like a really good candle burning, it gives me like a overall feeling of like just happiness and like it makes me happy.
Or those ones that like crackle. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I have a fireplace.
Make you feel like you're at a fireplace.
Yeah, I love those.
I think anything that you can start to replace with more natural things.
Is a good idea.
Anytime cleaning products, all of these things that all of us have had in our homes growing up as adults, and it just becomes commonplace. But unfortunately, they're causing a lot of problems with our health, that you have to look at all of these things. You have to look at, are all these toxins coming from within? Are they coming from without? And they're still bombarding our bodies. And unfortunately, there's some things that we can control, and there's some things that we can't control. You can't control if your home is completely free of chemicals, but you go to someone else's home and it's not, or you go to a restaurant or something,
right?
And it's not. So we definitely have to be mindful as much as possible, especially when we do start to have all these health issues popping up.
So with your practice, when somebody comes to you, and they might say, I'm having just problems with my stomach. I'm like bloated all the time. How do you go about like diagnosing or coming to a conclusion of what might be causing that?
So I look at different aspects. I always like to have like a complete history on someone to get to the root of everything. I tend to, or I should say, sometimes patients tend to leave out information.
When you say, like the number of alcoholic drinks per week.
Right.
That used to be the one that always got me. I'm like, my number's not on here.
Or sometimes patients think that that's not important information to know. Even as a chiropractor, I have certain paperwork for chiropractic patients as well as nutrition patients. And with the chiropractic patient, I'm like, why do you need to know what medications I'm on? Why do you need to know if I've had surgery or underlying conditions or anything? It's like, because that's going to affect the way your whole body.
Right.
Your whole body is connected. It's not your spine over here and your heart over here and your brain over here. Everything is connected and it works as one unit. So speaking with digestive stuff, I want to look at like your diet history. Are you pooping? No, I don't want to hear fully about the poop, but that's important. It's important. We all poop,
It makes the world go around.
Exactly. So that's important to know. What are you eating? And I tell people, don't sugarcoat anything. Don't try to sprinkle a salad in there if you never eat salad, but I do a 7-day diet history just to kind of get a feel for what's going on. And so I have different questionnaires as well. So I look at the full history of things and
Can you name off what are some of the things that people think that they're doing good with, but really that they're like, okay, I'm going to Chick-fil-A, but I'm only getting the grilled things instead of and you're like, okay, but.
And that's not bad. I always like to meet people where they're at. And
I think that's a great idea, though.
It's not a judgment zone, like, oh my God, you're doing horrible. But I also like to be real and transparent with them and let them know, okay, I see where you're going with this. I see you're trying to do better. I think a lot of people are, we want to eat healthy. We want to do the right thing for ourselves, but maybe you just don't know how. You don't know which direction to go, and you think, oh, if I just eat that breaded Chick-fil-A sandwich without the bread, that's still okay. And so it's kind of taking apart those things, and then again, meeting someone where they're at and learning what's going to be the best route for them. Is it full changes or is it just small changes?
Right. I want to continue on this topic because this is something that's kind of near and dear to me. So stay tuned, everyone, for more BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. Your home is one of your most important investments, so don't trust it to just anyone. LibertyPropertyInspections.net, helping you protect your investment. And we had Mike Heyman here for the first part of the show, and he is our Liberty Property Inspections person.
He is.
He's always a good interview. He's been Mike. Mike's in BNI too. We'll have to. Have you met him?
I haven't
before?
met him.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of the chapter. It's Wednesday at the church in Longwood.
Okay.
Whatever.
I probably know a few people in there.
Wednesday morning. Yeah, it's one of the oldest chapters in Central Florida. So, all right, we're here with Dr. Reid with Reid Chiropractor and Wellness Center, and we were talking about what I wanted to talk about is like I couldn't think of the right word, but maybe some misconceptions because there's certain things that we do thinking that we are actually helping ourselves, and I kind of want to. It's almost like I want to do like a true or false sort of thing. So how about replacing our lunch and our dinner with salads?
It depends on the salad.
Okay.
It does. It does depend on the salad. If it's a salad that is made up of a bunch of deli meat and cheese and croutons, and that's your salad, and maybe a little bit of iceberg lettuce in there, you have the right idea, but not necessarily the right ingredients.
All right.
We're on the right track.
No, because a salad, and
so not all salads are equal.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. You have to be careful with what's on it, what you put on it. If you then pour a whole bunch of ranch, and nothing against ranch.
I'm a ranch girl. She's blue cheese. I'm team ranch. She's team blue cheese.
It kind of defeats the purpose of what you're trying to achieve towards a healthier lifestyle with eating a salad. So, you can still make healthier choices with other types of meals. It doesn't have to equate to, I had a salad today. You can have some good proteins, some vegetables in there, some healthy carbs, healthy fats in there, and still have a well-rounded meal that you enjoy that is better for you.
Right. Well, that's a problem. I mean, because I love carbs, but if I eat a carb, I feel so guilty.
But why?
I don't know, because everybody said carbs are bad, and so I feel.
But
guilty.
our body needs carbs.
Yeah.
Or needs carbs. Needs carbs. But it also depends on the type of carbs. So let's say randomly a Pop-Tart, that's carbs. Is it good for you?
Though,
No,
right?
it's a lot of sugar. Versus a sweet potato, that's carbs too.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a lot better for you. So
Sweet
carbs
potatoes are good. I can get down with one of those.
Yeah,
I mean, but I'm gonna want to put butter on it.
butter. What's wrong with butter? Butter is good. That's
Really?
a healthy fat. Yes, it is.
All right, I like this.
Butter
woman.
is good.
We're good here. I'm gonna put that as
A
my
lot of it is a
ringtone. Butter is
misconception.
good.
Butter is good for you. It's going to skyrocket. Butter is a good thing. That is a healthy fat. That's along the lines of your coconut oil and olive oil, avocados. Butter is good. What's not good is margarine.
Oh, okay.
So, not trying to plug, but yeah, I can't believe it's not butter.
That's
or
the spray
whatever.
stuff.
Yeah, the spray and the spreads and everything. No, it's filled with trans fats. And
So that's worse than regular butter?
Yes.
Really? See, that's one of those things that I would not have even.
Yes. And
thought
again,
of.
it's one of those things where if you when you look at the label, look at the ingredients, and read all the stuff, it's just fake stuff.
Is it the same thing with
liquid plastic?
Is it the same thing with fake sugar type stuff versus real sugar?
Real sugar is still detrimental for you.
Yeah.
There's different forms of sugar. There are the different replacements, or
stevia or
plant-based
stevia.
replacements.
What do you think of
Stevia.
stevia?
Stevia is good. Monk fruit is good, but it also doesn't mean, okay, I'm going to take the sugar replacement and replace it with all this stuff just to still get that sweet fix. You still have to do things in moderation. You still have to look at what you're consuming, how much you're consuming.
We had a guest on the show. It was a shop that sold a lot of teas, and it was all like herbs and teas.
Herbal
and stuff.
teas.
Yeah, and it was called Dear Universe. And so I went there and I got some teas because it was all natural stuff, but they actually had the stevia. Am I saying that right? In like its natural form, which blew me away because it looked just like an herb, but you put it in there with like your tea, and you
that's cool.
do the water, and it gives it a nice sweet flavor. And I thought it was cool.
That is pretty cool.
A lot of things that are out there, especially your medications, your synthetic things, they have their basis in nature. And so it's best to go to nature for stuff. So herbal things are great.
Yeah.
It's definitely still about wanting to get the quality of things. You don't want to just put anything into your body, as well as have some guidance when you are doing them, as well too. And not, sometimes I've had people where they're just getting different things. Oh, I heard this was good. I heard this was good. This was good. And this good.
It is
and
hard.
Then, and so that's why, doctors like us are out there to be able to guide people and help them, what's going to be best for you. What do we need to focus on right now? When you start to create a better environment for your body, a lot of things will start to get better.
So if I were to come to you with, like I said, I've got indigestion issues, and I'm like, I'm just bloated and uncomfortable all the time. What you're saying is like your labs, your blood work is like your blueprint, and then you look at that, and then you'll start building,
looking at your history, and then create a plan.
Okay,
for you going.
And that's
forward.
a food plan or a medication plan.
That's a food, or what I say, sum up into diet, not going on a diet, but dietary changes, lifestyle, and supplementation.
Okay. And what you said earlier resonated with me as far as like meeting somebody, because when I'm the type of person, if somebody says everything you're doing is wrong, you have to change everything, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to walk away.
Right.
And it's like, because it's too hard.
Yeah.
So if somebody's like, okay, well, keep that, but do this, do you find that it to be a little bit more of a
I
have
call
a higher
them
success rate? Because there's probably a lot of stubborn people like me. I can imagine.
I'd say probably majority of people fall into that category where it's just like I just can't make all those changes all at once. There are what I call those superstar people that, oh my God, I can, what do you want me to do? I can do it and everything. But I'd say majority of people, it's kind of like I said, meeting people where they're at. And even if it's just that small change, hey, you're drinking 10 sodas a day. You know what? Let's start with reducing it to 5. Reducing
I used to be
it
a
to 1.
huge soda drinker. I can't even remember the last time I had a soda. I have a hard time with water.
Really?
I have like a complete mental
What do you
block.
like to drink then?
I'll drink teas or coffee or water with flavor in it, like carbonated waters, things like that.
Yeah.
But just a straight bottle of water is like
hard.
kryptonite for me.
Oh, really?
I was actually thinking about getting hypnotized. I'm totally serious. I think I'm going to do it on the air.
Yeah.
Have you ever been
That'd be
hypnotized?
interesting.
I want
Have you
to.
ever been
I haven't.
hypnotized? Well, okay, so I have an aversion to water. I have a mental block. I don't want to drink it. And I know it comes from like, I used to drink a lot of alcohol. I don't drink alcohol anymore. And like, it's a mental thing. So it's like, in my mind, I'm not getting anything out of this beverage. It's not, there's no stimulant in it. There's no caffeine. It's not kava. It's not kratom. It's just water. And I'm like, I will set a bottle of water on my desk in front of me for 8 hours. And I won't touch it.
Really?
If it's got bubbles, I'll drink it. If it's got flavor, I'll drink it.
What about adding fruit to it?
I've tried that before.
Doesn't do anything.
It just gets soggy
Still
fruit.
feels like water.
Yeah. I've tried it. But
Well, they have the ones where you can, where it's like a infused, where the fruit is in it but separate. You can take that out, and then the water.
I have
has
like
the
these things
flavor
of
in it.
Crystal Light. Like I can squirt in stuff, but it's artificial sweetener too. No, actually, it's the sugar-free ones, but still, it's artificial.
It has other stuff.
I know it's not great for me, but there's a doctor. I met her in BNI. I want to say her Brent. I can't remember it right now, but I messaged her, and I was like, "Can you like hypnotize me to help me to like not hate drinking water?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, you can. I mean, you can. It's like it's a mental block. So
when are you gonna do it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Let's do it on air. That sounds like fun.
All right, to do it on the air.
Yeah.
What if you guys like make me like what is some of the things like
Like
bark
bark like a chicken or something. I don't think that's what she's gonna do.
Have you ever
If
heard
the
of
worst thing is that she gets you to drink water,
Yeah.
that's
Have you
a
ever
good
heard of
thing.
somebody that says I hate drinking water?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have. Yeah.
And what do you say to them?
It's,
Tough?
it's a oh, suck it up.
I mean, especially in
it's
Florida,
hard.
it's so hot. Like, I think you just got to get yourself to a point to where you don't drink anything but just tell yourself, and then you'll just get so dehydrated. that
You know
it'll
what?
be
I
great.
have
For
no
some
idea
people-
how stubborn I am.
For some people, it's seeing the ramifications. of
Yeah.
it that can drive it.
Well, I want to talk about water some more when we get back. So everybody stay tuned for more BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and I want to give a huge thank you to our sponsor, Bolts Legal. Fear no storm with boltslegal.com. Crazy Muscle Nutrition, located on 436 in Castleberry. Inbalance Bodywork in Lake Mary. Derek Brantley is ready to help take your pain away. Forge IT Consulting, providing a fully outsourced IT department with a personal touch for small business. So I went to saw Derek yesterday, did a one-to-one with him, and he helped my neck. Do you know Derek?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
But he did some funky stuff here, but it's definitely done.
Worked it out,
done-
right?
Yeah.
What
'cause-
chapter are you in?
Gold Partners in Apopka.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if she's another one
From Stanford. No, we had a ton of people from the Stanford chapter. Melissa went and visited it one time. Visit it last year, and from her visit, we got 3 or 4 people on, and then just at the beginning of this year, we've had several. Derek is one of them. Michael Comforti, just a lot. Actually, a lot in the
Yeah.
health. Yeah,
They
a
have
lot of
they have a large health and wellness.
health. Yeah. So we're here with Dr. Reid with Reid Chiropractor and Wellness Center, and we're actually on the last segment. So I wanted her to kind of go over everything that all the services that you have at your practice and how everybody can get in touch with you. So we're not going to give the contact until the end. So let's just talk about the practice.
So let's start from A to Z. No,
Okay.
just kidding.
Yeah, let's do it, though.
So obviously, being a chiropractor, I do chiropractic care. I always have alarms going off. Sorry. And I see from young to old.
Okay.
And I take most major insurance as far as
Oh, okay.
chiropractic care, as well as if someone didn't have insurance, self-pay options as well. I also do spinal decompression in the office. So for those people that are wanting to avoid surgery, they have disc issues,
my
sciatica.
husband. Yeah, my husband. We are a huge believer in the decompression. How does do you just have to pay for an office visit, or did
I have some people that come straight for decompression, but I still do a examination, initial consultation
Right.
with them to see if it is going to be the best fit, coming with records, MRIs, that
Right.
type of thing.
Well, he had a whole neck thing, and we were super close to him having surgery. But I was pregnant with our second child, and it was just a whole thing. And we were waiting till after that. But he tried a decompression machine, and he had tried everything, like acupuncture. He even had epidurals in his neck and stuff, and that saved our lives. So that's so cool. You have one.
I
of
love it.
those.
I love it. I use it on for the neck and for the low back with patients. And so we have that available in the office. Obviously, the nutrition, functional medicine side. And then I do different things. I'm also a certified medical examiner for the Department of Transportation. So we do the truck driver physicals,
Okay.
the CDLs. And so I'm.
I didn't realize that they had to get physicals.
They do. They have to pass basically medical fitness. So it's complete exam, looking at the cardiovascular system, listening to the lungs, eye exam, during doing a urine dipstick, and so we do all of that. And so I've been doing that for about 11 years.
That's a cool
now.
gig.
And so those are things that we do in the.
So what
do in
are
the
some
office.
of the tests that you do that would okay, so I went and did some blood work. I'm like, let's just see where everything are, my levels are. What are some maybe some testing that you do that goes below that like main blood work thing? Because I feel like I asked to get my hormones checked and stuff like that. I don't feel like that happened.
Right.
Stuff like that where that would be useful information.
So hormones can be tested using blood by taking blood or serum. It's just not the best test to look at the hormones.
How do you look at hormones then?
I prefer saliva.
Okay.
It can be done using urine, so it's a separate company that we use, and it has a kit, and it could be male hormones, female hormones,
Really?
adrenal stress hormones.
I always thought it was your blood.
I
your
would think that
labs.
too.
They can do it. It's just not very accurate. And a lot of times I've seen it. They come back, they're normal.
Within range.
They're within range, exactly. And so I'd say probably majority of time, they'll do a lipid panel looking at your cholesterol, looking at your triglycerides, maybe some portion of your thyroid, usually not a full thyroid panel. We also do another test called the CBC that will look at your white blood cells, your red blood cells.
And what does that affect, your CBC?
Looking at your immune system, basically. So looking at whether you're anemic, showing any signs of anemia.
It's a lot of women are anemic, though, right? Just by the fact that we're women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, our cycles,
Yeah.
going through our cycles, particularly. So that's a common thing that we do. I also like to look at what we call a comprehensive metabolic panel. And so that's the test that it'll look at your glucose, it'll look at your protein levels, your calcium. Typically, some doctors will add in hemoglobin A1C to look at, are you showing any signs of diabetes, insulin resistance? However, I throw in some other extra tests in there. So I'll look at your vitamin D. I'll look at your fasting insulin, which is an even better test than looking at just your glucose. So it's probably about 19 to 20 different test panels that we'll do all in one, either where I send the patient for it if they don't have insurance or if they have a high deductible and they're going to be paying out of pocket for it anyway. We can get the labs discounted, or give them a script to give to their doctor and see if their doctor will do everything.
2 questions. So one is, okay, so what is the main reason or the most common reason for women when they go through menopause, we gain 10 to 15 pounds?
Inflammation.
Right. Which is caused usually by what?
Outside sources, what we call.
But I mean, what changes in our body that
it's the imbalances that occurred, but they've been going on for a while. Usually, there was other things leading up to having those symptoms. Right. Basically, irregular periods, maybe heavy bleeding, maybe other things, endometriosis, PCOS, maybe things that were never diagnosed because, especially as women, we tend to think that things are normal. We think that menopause symptoms or perimenopause symptoms are normal, and they're not. They're just your body's way of telling you something's off, and usually there's an imbalance in the hormones.
Yeah, because like I said, I've gone through menopause and I've gained 10 to 15 pounds, and like I said, it's not going away. And I exercise. Obviously, I don't drink water.
It's the water. It's the water.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different factors that go into it, and that's what we do is, a deep dive looking at why, what other hormones are being affected.
Well, my second question was about supplements because, you can take supplements, but how much of it does our bodies actually absorb? Because I remember going, okay, I'm going to take all these supplements and they're going to fix me up. I'm going to be the healthiest. And then I talked to a primary care and they're like, your body, we flush that right out. You're just wasting your money on these things.
Well, definitely if you're getting your typical over-the-counter, off-the-shelf vitamins, they're typically going to be synthetic in some form or at least only a portion of the vitamin. And what I mean by that is, for instance, like vitamin C. If I tell you the best source for vitamin C is an orange, the orange has that whole entire vitamin C complex in it. Versus if you see on a label and it says vitamin C as ascorbic acid, that means that it's just a portion of it. Just that small
So
little
the
portion.
vitamin C and the thing that says 1,000 grams, it's like a little orange and it tastes really tart. That's not good.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
You just eat an orange.
See, you think you're doing the right thing.
I know. So, when I give supplementation in the office, if I tell you that the best source for something is whole food, but you're like, yeah, I'm not going to eat that, then the next best source is going to be whole food supplementation. And that's what I use in the office.
Whole food supplementation?
I use a company that basically whole food supplementation. So when you see the ingredients, it's food on the ingredients.
Well, how do you do vitamin D? Because isn't that sun?
That is the best source, sun. But unfortunately, even people that are getting out in the sun are still low. So the first thing you want to do is have a test. Where does your vitamin D stand at? A lot of people assume because we live in Florida, but there's so many people. I honestly, to this date, have not seen someone that has normal vitamin D levels.
Dang.
When we've tested them.
I know.
So
I
it's,
take
and it's
vitamins.
and it's part of so many things. It's part of your immune system, your bone health, your brain health, everything.
Now's the time where you give everybody all your contact info.
So I am in Castleberry on 436, 500 State Road 436 in Castleberry, pretty much near 1792 and Redbug Road. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. Phone number 407-574-8565.
All right.
All right, and you can find me at strikingbrand.com is my website, or Melissa at strikingbrand.com is my email.
And a huge thank you to our sponsors, and thank you for tuning in. Have a great week, everyone.